Welcome back to World Traveler Cooking, the show where we cover interesting cuisines and interesting dishes from around the world. Today we're going to make Ragu alla Genovese. Now the name suggests that this dish is from Liguria and Genoa, but in fact it's from Naples. They just thought it sounded like something that would come from Genoa. By the way, again, still a little bit of noise from the construction next door. This does seem like it's winding down, which is a good thing. This dish is basically a rich onion meat sauce. Again, think about ragu as being a kind of stew that's extended into a sauce. That's probably the best way to think about it conceptually, and this is no exception. We'll start with a kilogram of beef. Now this should be a large piece of meat, ideally from the leg, so it can be top side, bottom side, rump, whatever. And to this we will add, well, right now I only have 2 kilograms of onions. It would be better if I had 2.5 kilograms. So we'll work with what we have. But it's seems like a lot of onions. We'd actually want even more. We'll also add about 125 grams of carrots, about 125 grams of celery. A little bit of celery leaf, if you have it, is good. We'll add a bunch of parsley and 2 bay leaves. Finally, we will add some wine. This dish takes several hours to make, so plan ahead. Let's go ahead and get started. Just going over the prep really fast. The carrots and celery have been cut really small. And the onions have been julienned. Some of them are a little bigger than others, but they will disappear into the sauce slowly. So this is where we're going to start. So into our pot, we will add enough olive oil to nicely coat the bottom. Don't be stingy on the olive oil. It's better to have too much than too little. I think that's looking okay. That's probably like 4 or 5 tablespoons. And then as this heats up a bit, we'll start with our carrots and our celery. And then we will add our onions on top. And we're going to stir this, let it cook for a few minutes. Then, while in this process, we will cut and get our meat ready. So, it's been a couple of minutes. This is starting, so I'm going to I've turned my heat way down. And I will move this to a less hot burner in a moment. But I've cut my meat into some decent sized pieces. And I'm going to add the meat now, and then we will basically cover this and let it very, very slowly cook. So here I have a monstrous boquet garni. It's a bunch of parsley plus the celery leaves and 2 bay leaves. We're just going to set it in. On the top. Then I'm going to cover this, and we'll be I may add a little bit of wine now. I haven't decided. Certainly should add a bit of salt. So sprinkle in with some salt, maybe a teaspoon at this point. So over the next 3 hours we will occasionally stir it, but otherwise we're just going to keep it covered and let it slowly stew. So see you in about 3 hours. So it's been about 2 hours. A lot of people wait 3 for this, but I've decided to do this early. I'm going to add about 1/3 or so of this bottle of wine in now, and I'll cover it again and let it continue to simmer. Some people wait, and then most people wait, and then they just boil it hard. But if you do that, then you get less fragrance So this is what I'm going to do now, and I'll be back in an hour, and at that point I'll remove the boquet garni and we'll start reducing. So now it's been 3 hours. We're going to take this boquet garni out. Look at all that liquid, and most of it's from the onions, just a little of it from the wine. It's actually smelling really good. And from here we're going to cook it with the lid off so that we can reduce it down a bit. You're going to see this is actually pretty light at this point. It's very watery. So I'm going to turn up the heat a bit. And I'm going to add a bit more wine, and we're just going to boil this down. And eventually this meat just becomes so tender that we can just kind of break it apart a bit with our spatula. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to keep doing this while we're stirring. We've got to keep stirring this because at this point it's going to start to burn if we don't. So I'm going to keep that until it's nice and well reduced and we're ready to mix it with our pasta. As we're nearing the end, I'm going to add just a little more wine for flavor. And that'll be good. So I don't know how well you can see the consistency here, but now we're getting to the point where the onions have basically turned into the main sort of medium, and in it we see basically strings of meat. So this is what we're after, and hopefully the pasta will be done soon and we can try it. So once the pasta's losing its crunch, we're going to finish it off in some of the ragu. So we'll take some of the ragu and we'll mix it with the pasta and just kind of let it continue to cook. The idea is that this will impart some of the flavor into the pasta, and then we serve with more ragu on top. And now for the taste test. That's something. Remember how I keep saying that ragus are an extension on the soup and stew concept? This is like a super flavorful beef stew as a pasta sauce. It's amazing. Definitely something I'm going to make many more times. Yeah, if you find this content interesting, please like, share, and subscribe. If you have something to say about this video, please let me know in the comments below. Recipes in the description. Bon appetit, and see you next week.